Hi, the name of this video is going to be Bible Archeology. Just wanted to share um, share some sources, just a few simple sources that are on YouTube. There's tons of sources, but just a few things that I'd come across years ago that um, people might find interesting. As you know, there's of course a quite an effort um, the Bible, and whether it's actually a true historic book, and based on true events, or if it's just fiction that someone wrote. There's a few videos you can check out. There's a video. It's actually a lecture. Let's see. The name of the video is Startling Evidence That Noah's Flood Really Happened. It's a lecture by, excuse me, by a guy named Michael J. Ord, Oard, and it's about an hour long, and he goes into archaeological proof that the flood actually happened, and he touches on you know evidence of the water drainage, evidence of the mountain ranges levels changing, which allowed the water to basically drain down into the earth. And it's pretty good. I mean, he he goes into some other stuff related to the Bible a little bit, that you know he he doesn't quite know what he's talking about, but at least from a standpoint of archaeological evidence about the flood and proof that it actually took place, he kind of lays out a pretty good you know background and scientific proof of that. Then there's a series of videos that kind of highlight research of a guy by the name of Ron Wyatt. And this guy, um, not really an archaeologist, but just kind of read the Bible, went out and went searching for stuff, and just from a scriptural standpoint, went out, searched for stuff. So he found what has been identified as Noah's Ark, exactly where the Bible said it was, up in the mountains of Mount Ararat, in Turkey. He found the real Mount Sinai. So if you look on a map of the Sinai Peninsula, there's a mountain called Mount Sinai that most people thought was the Mount Sinai referred to in the Bible. And there's even like I think a tour where you can go and take a tour of the Mount Sinai, right? But he was able to identify that, by basically looking at the Red Sea crossing and kind of following the journey as laid out in the Bible. He was able to go right to the real Mount Sinai, which is called Jubal Jez. I think I might be butchering that. Going off memory, I should have wrote that down. But it's basically a mountain just inside of Saudi Arabia, and he's got some pictures. And there's actually a couple other people who've gone and taking pictures and things there. And basically, you could see the top of the mountain is burned, just as mentioned in the scriptures. There's a lot of artifacts there and scenery there that is laid out exactly as mentioned in the Bible. Unfortunately, the government there is fenced it off, so people have not been able to get in there to check things out, and um, so you might check out those videos. Let's see, that's two of the things he did. He also in Egypt he identified what he believes, and it makes sense based on what he laid out. These he identified what was more than likely the grain storage that Joseph used during the time of the famine in Egypt. And so that's another thing he identified. He also, based on some hieroglyphs, he kind of did a proving out of the way, one of the ways that the Israelites would have moved those huge stones with levers. There was a picture on a wall, and basically he kind of just reconstructed that, and sure enough, it was a perfect lever for moving an extremely heavy object. And another thing that he discovered was the Red Sea crossing. Again, just following the course as the Bible laid out, identified that the Red Sea crossing wasn't really at the deepest, widest part of the Red Sea, but it was the Gulf of Suez, and he identified their pillars on either side that were believed to be placed there by Solomon. I can't remember. I think there might have been a scripture on that. I haven't watched those videos in a while. I need to go back and watch them again. But and he actually did some diving there, went down and actually took pictures and or video and showed that there are actually chariots down at the bottom in that area, right? So you can see the chariot wheels, and there other researchers were able to confirm that the type of chariot wheel that was found, based on the number of spokes, I think, if I recall, I think those chariot wheels had 4 spokes, which was what would have been used in that time period before the Exodus, whereas other time periods, the chariot wheel spokes were there were more than 4. I think there 6 or 8 spokes or something like that. So so that's another thing he discovered. Now he's also got some videos out there where he claimed he found the Ark. The Ark of the Covenant. I don't know, I don't know about that one. No, so that one's questionable because it doesn't fit in with Scripture, which the Scripture has Jeremiah basically hiding the Ark in, if my memory serves me, he hid it in a cave in basically in the wilderness, or perhaps a cave near the in the Sinai Peninsula, perhaps near where the Israelites were in the wilderness. So I don't know about that one. You know, but time will tell. Um, but he did. I would say. Now he claimed he found the ark in a cave underneath the location of the crucifixion, where Christ was crucified, where Messiah was crucified. Now, I do believe he found the correct um, location for where Yahweh Shai, who most people know as Jesus, where he was crucified. Whereas there was a different location that people had been flocking to, and they had tours and things like that, showing people this church and claiming that's where he was crucified, but it didn't really fit with scripture. So I do think he did identify the correct location where Yahweh Shai was crucified. So that would be another thing he developed. And so don't know Ron Wyatt's lineage or anything. Don't know what nation he's from. Of course, um, Yahweh, the Most High God, he can enlighten whoever he wants to, discover things, to bring things to light. So, don't, you know, don't know his lineage or anything, but those are a handful of things he discovered. Um, and let's see. So, wanted to touch base on. Um, Also, there was a video I watched a couple of days back. It was on an Alex Jones video, and the video was done, I believe, April 20th. The name of the video is Top Scientists. Um, have the excuse me, top scientists, have the biblical end times begun. So that's the name of the video. Again, it's an Alex Jones video. I kind of monitor Alex Jones. I don't, I'm not a hardcore listener, but periodically I'll scan his topics. He normally has some good um, some good topics. Probably about a couple of times a month. He has some good topics on a lot of things going on, like the economic, uh, the, the the pending economic crisis. A couple times a month. It seems like he'll have, sometimes more frequent than that, he'll have some people on talking about that and what's going on in the markets and things like that. And there's some other topics that he'll have some good insight on. So I kind of just scan the topics and see if there's something that that he might have of interest. Again, playing the role of the watchtower, or the person on the watchtower, kind of monitoring what's going on. So this particular video was about. It had a gentleman by the name of Stan Deyo, Deyo. And again, this Stan Deyo, I kind of Googled his name. I mean, he is from what I could tell, he's a meteorologist, right? Now he also looked like he dabbles into, you know, some I won't say biblical stuff. Well, I guess biblical stuff, but the incorrect interpretation of the Bible, right? So he dabbles into all the giants and fallen angels and all that madness. And I'm not, again, not endorsing any of these guys, but from a meteorologic standpoint, he was, laying out um, some good information on earthquake trends, and which fits into Bible prophecy, the earthquakes in diverse places. He also touched on, which I'm going to look a little bit more in depth. He also touched on, some of the catastrophic events that his research has indicated have occurred, which, like one event contributing to Noah's flood, an event that caused the breaking up of the sorry, it's like 2 in the morning. Uh, trying to get this video in. The continents, the continents. I need to get some sleep. Uh, let's see. And other events. Which I came across information a few years back where, supposedly like this lost city of Atlantis that, they've been searching for had been found. But, some of the catastrophic events that, had occurred, he kind of gave some quick insight on that. So, I'm going to probably look a little bit more into that, just from an interest standpoint. But the information on the earthquakes was good. Of course, talked about overdue earthquakes here in the states, but definitely touched on a lot of the which there's been some major earthquakes. In several places around the Pacific recently. And I read something, was it in CNN or something, talking about Mount St. Helens? Yeah, I think they recorded something like 140 earthquakes there, like in the last 3 months, which, just kind of indicate, they got some stuff going on there. But in any regards, so just to sync that one up with a few scriptures related to earthquakes, just going to bring out I guess what I call a few classics. So let's say I'm going to go to Matthew chapter 27, verse 7. Well, actually, I'm passing Luke, so let me touch on Luke first. Luke chapter 21, verse 11. Okay, Luke 21, verse 11. Okay, and great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, and famines and pestilence, and fearful sights and great signs shall there be from heaven. Okay, and again, this is touching on end times. Okay, so from Luke we're going to go to We're going to go ahead and hit Mark before Matthew. So let's say Mark chapter 13. Verse 8. Okay, for nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and troubles. These are the beginnings of sorrows. Okay, and then we're going to go to Matthew chapter 27, verse 7. Matthew 27, verse 7. Okay, I must have wrote that one down wrong. 20, yes, 27. Okay, I wrote that one down wrong, but it's basically similar to the other two that I brought out, talking about the earthquakes in um, right at the point of the Great Tribulation. Okay. And also, there's also another video. This is not archaeology, but another video you might want to check out. It's a Lisa Havens. I think it's Havens. I think is how you spell it. Video. Oh gosh, I forgot to write down the name of it. I don't follow her. Apparently, well, not apparently. Periodically, one of her videos will kind of pop up in my suggested list on YouTube, and I'll click on it and watch a couple of minutes. But um, her, similar to Alex Jones. Well, she normally doesn't do interviews. She normally just brings out a bunch of reports and stuff. At least the videos I've seen of her. She's a lot of these people they're earning a living off of YouTube, right? So kind of putting sensational titles on their videos to get views, bringing out some credible information, but some of it's unsubstantiated, and of course, she periodically tries to mix some scripture into some of the stuff, and she's kind of got inappropriate or uh, a a an incorrect view of the Bible, and what's going on. She kind of understands big picture what's going on, but doesn't really understand what's going on. But anyway, she put out a good video. I want to say it was 2 3 days ago, and I should have wrote the name of the video down. Today is May 12th, 13th. So the video probably would have came out about the 10th. But it says something about something about this information. Oh, something about millions of people. I don't remember. Anyway, I apologize. So, the video basically, if you look at her videos and look in the title, it had millions, some about millions of people murdered or millions of people, something along those lines. So it probably would have been around May 10th. So if you look down her list of videos, you should be able to find it. But it was a pretty good report she put out. It was about all of the tests that the U.S. government has run on its citizens. You know, everything from the Tuskegee experiment to you know, just a lot of just random, you know, well, I won't say random, a lot of experiments that the government has done on people. Everything from chemtrails to, you know, the water, um, a lot of, you know, a lot of different stuff. So the food, but it's, you know, I looked into some of that before, and so a lot of the stuff in there I know was, you know, credible. So you know, which is why I'm referring people to it. But it just, you know, again, you know, lets you know the mindset of the people, you know, making decisions, you know, what they're doing with these medications, uh, medications, inoculations, you know, just, you know, what could be easily could be going on that, you know, you don't know anything about, and you're participating in it, you know, and being a victim at the same time. So, um, had someone I know, elderly person, pass recently, and they're in the military, and someone was telling me a story um, about talking to the VA, something about their military benefits, and the person at the VA was like, "Well, let me, you know, let me look at their military records and see if they were involved with any experiment that would have contributed to their death." And so, so you're like, you know what? I mean, you know, so you go in the military, which you know, a lot of the experiments or some of the experiments that Lisa Havens brought out, you know, they were on military veterans, right? Everything from, you know, the Agent Orange to, you know, a few other things. So you really got to know what you're getting into. But anyway, but all praises to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, for giving me the opportunity to do the video. So check out those videos I mentioned. Should edify you, and you know, hopefully help build your faith in the Word. The Bible is a true book based on true history, going back to the beginning of time. All the talk about the earth being hundreds of thousands and millions of years old is, you know, a bunch of garbage. The talk about there being the human race being hundreds of thousands of years old or millions of years old is a bunch of garbage. There's no proof that that's the case, but there is proof in this Bible that documents history that is been tested, confirmed over and over and over again. That, you know, basically just lays out, you know, going back what 5,000 years, maybe a little over 5,000 years to the flood, and before the flood, you know, maybe another, you know, a little over 1,000 years or so, and you know, there's you got documented history that's documented, you know, that has been proven that people wrote, you know, those, you know, those time periods. Yet, people want to try to shoot holes in documented history with a bunch of theory, carbon dating, and theoretical nonsense. So, anyway, but keep up the faith. We're getting a lot closer to the return of our King.